What's going on, everybody out there? Welcome to another episode of Amazon Marketing Minutes, a show where we talk about Amazon marketing in a world of, I think now, recovery from COVID-19. So we are going live every single day during COVID-19 recovery. The process, I believe it's already plateaued. So we're going to be analyzing and evaluating how Amazon marketing is changing over time. And our show, daily show, Amazon Marketing Minutes, every day at this time, 3:00 Central. And be sure to go to adbadger.com/live to get it in your time zone. So part of the reason why we put the show on is because, we do have our podcast, which you should go and listen to, adbadger.com/podcast. And really what that show is all about is about big picture topics and diving in deep of how to implement things. But because during coronavirus, things are happening, things are changing, things are moving so much every single day that we wanted to put out a show. That's this show, Amazon Marketing Minutes, so that you can get all the Amazon marketing tips, tricks, that you can quicker, faster, and that we can also share with you what we're hearing from our customers and our clients, and also so we can ask you questions as well. So the topics that we're talking about are things like managing PPC during a crisis, mindset, how to stay active and generative during this time instead of closing down, reviewing news from Amazon, talking about going international during this time and whether or not it's worth it, talking about bids by Badger, and how we're changing up our bid algorithms, talking about the powers of negative keywords to save money. And the topic for today is, as you can see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen, is, have you thought about pausing your campaigns to avoid stockouts? This is an interesting topic. Ryan, friend and customer of Ad Badger, posted in our private forum the other day, and he was talking about, hey, my shipment is still delayed at the border. It's not getting in. It's not getting to the fulfillment center. Should I just pause my campaigns? And so this question, have you thought about pausing your campaigns to avoid stockouts? So in general, I do not recommend, and generally at Ad Badger as a principle, we do not recommend people pausing their campaigns if they can help it. So what does that mean? That means, plain and simple, if you think things are in free fall, it's just not working, if you are anticipating a drop in something or whatever it might be, not pausing them. So we generally have some tips and advice of what to do before you get to a point where you pause them. We've got some people watching. What's up? We've got about 10 people watching this live today, April 20th. So whether you're watching it live or you are watching the replay, and we always read the comments for the replay, I would love to hear you if you're watching this live, just to get a good conversation going. Have you thought about pausing your PPC campaigns to avoid stockouts? And if you did have that conversation, did you actually end up pausing it, or did you end up leaving it on? And I want to share what we do internally here at Ad Badger and what we recommend our customers do, because I think this is a topic that everyone's thinking about. Let's take a peek. Juanjo, what is up, brother? I hope all is well. Nice to see you. Love that picture. It looks like Miami on a beautiful summer day. So I paused the auto campaign, but running manual campaigns, auto campaigns were not converting, but costing money. I'm always curious on the difference in levels of performance there. Were a lot of your manual campaigns, tell me about the structure of your manual campaigns. Were those more exact match? Were those phrase broad? I'm curious on the differences there, but you're absolutely right. To pause it, getting strategic about your pausing is definitely a concept that I want to talk about. Using the COVID mode seems to help at lowering the ACOS. Juanjo, I knew I liked you. This is awesome in the sense of, so just in case anyone watching this doesn't know, Ad Badger made an update a couple weeks ago, and we rolled out COVID-19 response mode, so coronavirus response mode. And what that does is it just optimizes your campaign's bids quicker than our standard algorithm does. So it goes in there and it takes faster action. And we have a whole bunch of content. You can just go to adbadger.com/help, type in, COVID-19 response mode. You can go into our bid algorithm and actually see the differences there. So we do a lot of, we just optimize it faster so that if things are moving very hectically, it helps take action and takes action there faster. So essentially the way that I like to handle stockouts is, and pausing campaigns to do that, is basically, it starts with the principle. And the principle is, in general, campaigns that are old, that have been running a long time, can anecdotally perform better than a brand new campaign. So and this is kind of in the world of superstitious marketing, where you sort of do something, but Amazon doesn't explicitly say, do it this way. It's, I haven't seen it in any of their documents to say like leave campaigns running, but anecdotally, I've always liked to leave campaigns running for a couple of reasons. One, I've always preferred to try to salvage and fix a campaign. If I'm jumping into an account for the first time, try to jump in there and optimize what's there, see if you can fix it, see if anything's salvageable, because then you get some historic history there. So in general, this question is really about pausing a campaign with the intention to turn it on again. Not so much jumping into an account for the first time as a consultant or something like that and seeing what you can do, and maybe you pause it or create a new one. It's more so about your campaigns, pausing it with the intention of turning it back on. And basically, the intention of doing that, should you do that? I would say potentially yes, but there's other things that you do first. So of course, the first thing that you do is you lower your bids. And if you're using a tool like AdBadger, instead of managing your bids, you manage your target. So what that means is you go in and actually you lower your target ACoS. So that's an interesting way to think about this. If you optimize your bids, whether you're using AdBadger or not, you have your own bid procedure that you follow, as you should. We've got content talking about how often you should be optimizing bids and how you should do it. But a lot of it involves taking how much revenue you generate per click and then multiplying that by your target cost per, like how much you want to spend as a ratio of your revenue. So if you generate $10 revenue per click and you have 50% target ACoS, well, then you just set your bid to $5 because you generate $10 every click. So with that said, what you can think of is sort of bring down your target ACoS first. So what that means is, whether you're using a tool like AdBadger or you're optimizing keywords manually, go in there, lower your target ACoS. So when you are thinking that you're going to stock out, go in there and give yourself a lower target ACoS. And depending on how much runway you have is how long you want to, is how aggressive you want to change your target ACoS. If you think that you only have 2 weeks left and you're going to stock out, you want to avoid being stocked out. So what you can do is you can go in there, if your normal target ACoS is 40%, go in there and set your new target ACoS to 15%. So what that will do, that will mathematically give you lower bids. And that's better than saying, I'm just going to go lower my bids any amount. Do it from the perspective, mathematically, do it from the perspective of trying to lower bids strategically. So you can go in there and things that aren't converting well, when you give it a much lower target ACoS, you're going to give it a lower bid. If things are converting well, you're going to go in there, you're still going to give it a lower bid, but it won't be as aggressive. So it's a really good way to reduce the amount of clicks that you're getting without, throwing everything that you've worked on away. So again, that's a good habit. Optimizing your bids, managing bids. That's really, really good insight. So the first thing to do, lower your target ACoS, whether you're using a tool like AdBadger to do it, or you're doing it yourself. Go in there, give yourself a lower target ACoS. The faster you will stock out, the more aggressive the lowering of your target ACoS is. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, of course, to thanks so much, Wano. Appreciate it. Awesome advice to lower the target ACoS. So that's awesome. The second piece of advice is you, at the same time, want to lower budget approximately the same, a relative amount. What that means is, let's say you have a $10 a day budget and you're paying $1 per click. If you lower your bids to 50 cents, it's possible that you will still spend $10 because it's possible that you're just going to continue picking up clicks. So what lowering your target ACoS does is good. It'll lower, generally bring down your CPCs, your cost per clicks. But then what you want to also do is lower your budget. So if you, you have a target ACoS of 40%, you lower to 20%. You can look at this, and this is a little less precise because it's really dependent on another metric, which you do not see inside your PPC account, which we are going to put in AdBadger eventually, which is what's your impression share? Meaning, if you have only 20% impression share, meaning, let's say you're selling running shoes and you only show up 20 out of 100 times that running shoes get searched, you are going to be leaving so many impressions that you're not getting. So if you lower your bids, you'll probably continue to spend the same amount. Whereas if you go in there and you lower your bids by lowering your target ACoS, and then you also lower your budget, you will accomplish what you're trying to do. That is how you slow down the pacing of your sales in a way that's sort of responsible towards your margins and in a way that doesn't completely pause your campaigns. So pausing your campaigns, the reason why I don't like to do it is because I do believe there is a benefit of having aged campaigns. This is true in Google ads, Facebook ads, and Amazon ads, that just having a big account that's been around for a long time is generally, it's almost as if it has like a cheat code on that things are just a little bit easier in it. Comment below if you've experienced this too, where sometimes you launch a campaign and there's this like ramp up time that things need to start getting clicks, things need to start getting sales until it really starts activating. This is so common where you have an auto campaign with a search term that's getting, 20 clicks a day. You then take that and you put it into a new manual campaign, and now it's only getting like 10 clicks a day. And then over time, it'll eventually get back to where it was beyond. And that, I believe, does have a lot to do with just like the pacing. So I do believe that there is a metric that Amazon doesn't show us, which is like advertiser quality score. If you've done Facebook ads, it's like similar to relevance score. And if you've done Google ads, it's similar to quality score. It's just a metric at how much Amazon likes you and how much they like your ad campaign. So by pausing it, it almost like sends a signal that, Amazon doesn't prefer that. It's almost as if they're looking at like life cycle of a campaign, like how long it's been running. And they almost view that as like a serious business metric. There's a lot of stuff like that. And like SEO, it's like for websites on Google, it's like, do you have a private who is on your URL, or do you have a public one? And does your domain expire in less than 12 months, or does it expire in more than 3 years? Google can view that as like a more serious website, which deserves a little bit more SEO juice, in the same way that having a longer running campaign is generally, I believe, viewed as a positive sign on Amazon. And my friends, that is it for today. So basically, have you thought about pausing your Amazon PPC campaigns to avoid stockouts during this crazy time? If so, try some of the things that we talk about in this video, do those first. And then, of course, if you need to, then you can pause your campaigns. I definitely don't want to be sending traffic to a product that is out of stock. So with all that said, just to recap, lower your target ACoS. Don't just lower your bids, lower your target ACoS, and then optimize your bids towards that new target ACoS. And then, of course, lower your budget. We are going live every day of this crisis, and thank goodness it has peaked. It looks like the curve is flattened now. It still needs to be cautious. I've seen the meme going around, something, going back to normal right now would be like taking off your parachute because you've already slowed it down. So it looks like it's slowing down, and that's great. And hopefully it will continue going just down and down and down, and that the economy can reopen sooner than when it's appropriate, is what I'll say. So as I mentioned, because things are changing every single day, we wanted to get in here and share as much info as we can with you on Amazon marketing through this crazy time. So again, some of the things that we're talking about is how to manage your PPC during a crisis, mindset stuff, how we're optimizing bids, how we're managing keywords, both positive keywords and negative keywords, trying to share any Amazon news as we get it hot off the presses. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. Also want to clap for Wanho. What's up? You always participate. It's epic. Thank you so much. Everybody else who's watching, you could participate too. It's not just Wanho. It's not the Wanho show. It's not the Wanho show. It's your show too. So even if you're watching the replay, be sure to drop a comment. What have you done to help avoid stockouts? Have a good one, everybody, and I will see you inside the Badger Den.